Hey everyone, it's Manav, and in today's video, I'll be showing you exactly how to build an audience that actually books coaching calls with you and not just watches you, right? The thing is, like, if you're a high ticket coach, you're getting views, people like your content, they DM you, but you're still not booking calls. This will probably be amongst the most important video you watch this year, and I'm not even exaggerating it, but the thing is, like, I was, like at one point in the same position as you are, and I'll be showing you exactly, like how I step by step built an audience that not only likes me, well, at least I hope so, but like they also booked me like 8 inbound coaching calls with only 26 subs, and it like just kept getting increasing ever since, right? So for proof, like you can just pause and like read them if you want. But anyways, like in this video I'll be showing you how to build an audience of buyers and not just viewers, right? So without any further ado, let's just begin with it, right? So just a few months ago, this is what my content used to look like. And also this, right, in which like I basically started providing more value, creating videos on things in which like people have almost never done before, right? That was just like I was trying to do, but like I was posting consistently, I was getting DMs, but insanely far from booking any calls or making money, right? And the thing was, like, I have seen people in the past and even right now, like as I speak, in which like they post their first ever YouTube video and they book calls, and not only book calls but they get piff from those booked calls, right? And I was like, I want to do the same for myself, so I tried literally everything I possibly could, right? I posted more content, I gave more value, but things didn't change, right? So like if you think that you just need more time, maybe, but I would say like at least think once again, because like I thought like that and I was wrong, right? But anyways, like it just felt like there was some invisible force that was blocking me to win. But after 90 days, it turns out that it wasn't algorithm, it wasn't my effort, it was just the type of audience that my content was attracting, and I was not even aware of it until like I actually like thought about this, and I'm now creating video on this topic, right? Look, here's the thing, right? For 99% of you, it's not your fault, right? I'm not even trying to sugarcoat this thing, but honestly, like here's what likely happened with you, and the same shtick happened with me also, right? So like there are multiple gurus on YouTube. The thing is, like, they give you advice without telling you the whole story, because like they obviously want to sell their stuff or whatever. But like they keep yelling that target your ICP, but they never tell you this. So let me just give you the full picture, right? In reality, there are two types of audience, right? And look, it might seem surface level, but I'm gonna go deep into it, right? So this first type of audience, this will give you like hundreds of thousands of followers in just few months. They get known to wider audience, but the caveat is it's just like short-term relevance that you get, right? On the other side, this type of audience, this grows really slow, but it's like you build an audience brick by brick, right? You'll probably get a few hundred or even like lower end thousands of views, but like not nowhere, like in this part, like you get like hundreds of thousands of views, but like here you probably would get like few hundred or even like lower end thousands of views. But like this sets the foundation for you to win in the long term. And this first type of audience is fans, right? And the second type of audience is buyers, right? Most people are creating content that is attracting fans, right? 99% of times unintentionally. And the worst part about it is like fans don't really buy, right? In your video, if your videos if it attracts like more than 60% of viewers as fan, it will take you months to get your first ever lead. And I probably got it in like, I don't know, 15 days after I started posting this type of content. But in reality, I followed neither of this, right? I never followed like completely fan-based thing. I never completely followed like attracting buyers. I was like somewhere in the middle ground, which is by far the best thing, like to just like make money as fast as possible and reach out to like greater number of people. So like let me just tell you like how I did it exactly. Well, the reason behind all of this was a system, right? And I'm not even trying to be a marketer, but honestly it's that system that made all of these results possible for me, and I will reveal it to you today, right? So these are the like YouTube videos that booked me most of my coaching calls, right? Now if I were in your place, I would definitely go like break them down and like see like what things that I actually did. But anyways, like these are the videos that booked me majority of my call, and the common thing in all of them was like I exploited my system. By the way, it's called like human bias content ecosystem. I exploited that system in all of those videos, but there were like two biases that almost like in terms of booking calls surpassed every single one of the other biases, and I very consciously try and plant those two biases for sure in every single one of my videos, especially these 4 ones, right? So the first one is the law of differentiation, right? Everyone talks about it, but no one really knows how to do it. So let me just share it with you, right? The most important element to implement this is introducing a system. just like I did, like above here, I just became aware of it. But anyways, well, the thing is, like, I've been a copywriter for almost 2 years and spent like thousands of hours trying to master this skill, right? I even, like, invested in like multiple different courses, bought different books, and let me just show you one. So like, if you have read this book, like, pretty great. But like, anyways, but the reason behind why I suggest that you come up with a new system with a name especially is because, like, in copywriting, it teaches us that like, new means hope, right? And it instantly answers your audience objection of, I've tried so many things in the past, why will your particular like, system will work for me? So when you just give them a visual understanding of what your system actually looks like, it just becomes really easy for them to understand it and like it also, right? And so that was like the first thing that I try and like, include in every single one of my videos. And coincidentally, this was the video in which I actually introduced my system, and it's like my second most popular video. It went really well, right? And people became aware of it, and now they watch like these like deep courses, right? And there is a second bias that I told you above, that worked pretty well. It's like understanding that people buy from people, right? More than value you provide, it matters that are you a good and a fun person to work with? This is like by far the most important things, because understand that if this is the person that is top of the game but you don't like him as a person, and this is like a bit below than this first person, but like still like a pretty good person to work with almost a really good like skill set, you would obviously choose this person, right? Because more than skill, it matters, and is it really a good person, a chill person to work with, right? Because, like, I mean, if there is a coach, right, a fitness coach, let's just say that you go to gym, right, and there is a fitness coach that all the time just yells at you and does not tell you any tactics, right? Like, are you gonna learn from him? Or there is this another guy, not jacked as much as the first coach, but still like, he gives you tactics, he understands what motivates you, what demotivates you, and based on that he like, gives you advice and suggestion, right? So I would say, like, induce your personality in your content, either through content itself, which is like really preferred. For example, like, the thing with me that I can do is, like, I can choose a broad topic and I can provide information on that topic that is like really deep, really detailed, right? And it's based on my strengths and like, in excluding my weaknesses, right? So you basically have to do the same for yourself, or like, you can just use editing as your tool to just separate yourself, right? And Iman did this like pretty well, right? There was basically at a time where, like, there was a editing style called Iman Ghazi editing style, right? So that is like one way to go about it, right? So these are like the two bias that I would for sure recommend you to like, implement as fast as possible. And that is how like, basically like targeting these buyers. What I do is, like, I just set up my YouTube channel in a way my titles can attract fans, right? Because, like, I try and create videos on broad topics, right? But my video converts them from fans to buyers, right? So I don't really have to follow a funnel where, like, it's like top of the funnel, middle, or bottom of the funnel. It's just like my one single video is everything, right? It's like top, bottom, or like middle of the funnel, right? And for sure, like, I would say, like, go and break those videos down that I gave you here.